Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going on an adventure to a beautiful giant mountain in Washington state called Mount Rainier. Imagine a huge frosty cupcake covered in snow and ice, towering over everything around it. It's stunning, right? But what if I told you this beautiful mountain is actually a sleeping giant? A volcano that could wake up and cause a lot of trouble. Don't worry, we're not trying to scare you, but it's super important to understand the world around us. And Mount Rainier is one of the most fascinating and potentially dangerous volcanoes in the United States. So, grab your explorer's hat, because we're about to uncover the secrets of this volcanic time bomb. First off, what makes Mount Rainier so special? Well, it's part of something called the Ring of Fire, which is like a giant necklace of volcanoes that circles the Pacific Ocean. Mount Rainier is a type of volcano called a stratovolcano. Think of it like a giant layer cake made of hardened lava, ash, and rock from past eruptions. It's built up layer by layer over hundreds of thousands of years. It's also the most glaciated peak in the lower 48 states, meaning it's covered with massive rivers of ice called glaciers. It holds more ice and snow than all the other Cascade volcanoes combined. This combination of fire and ice is what makes it both breathtakingly beautiful and incredibly hazardous. Now, you might be thinking, but it looks so peaceful. It hasn't erupted in a long time, right? And you're right. The last big eruption was over 500 years ago. But geologists, the scientists who study rocks and the earth, call it an active volcano. That means it's not extinct. It's just taking a very, very long nap. Deep beneath the mountain, there's a chamber filled with magma, which is hot, molten rock. Scientists are constantly monitoring Mount Rainier with special tools that can detect tiny earthquakes, ground swelling, and gas releases. All signs that the magma might be moving around down there. It's like a doctor checking a patient's heartbeat to make sure everything is okay. So, what would happen if Mount Rainier did wake up? An eruption could be explosive, shooting ash high into the sky, which could disrupt air travel and fall like gray snow for hundreds of miles. But for the people living nearby, the biggest and most immediate danger isn't the lava or the ash. It's something called a lahar. It's a fun word to say, lahar, but it describes something very serious. Remember all that ice and snow we talked about on top of the mountain? If the volcano heats up even a little bit, it can melt that ice very, very quickly. Imagine turning on a hairdryer and pointing it at a giant ice cream cone. All that melted ice cream would mix with the dirt and rocks on the ground and start flowing downhill. A lahar is just like that, but on a massive scale. It's a fast-moving, destructive mudflow, like a river of wet concrete. It can pick up boulders, trees, cars, and even buildings, and it flows down river valleys at incredible speeds, sometimes as fast as a car on the highway. Because lahars follow riverbeds, many communities built in the valleys around Mount Rainier are directly in their path. This is the primary reason scientists call it one of the most dangerous volcanoes in America. Scientists have studied the past and found evidence of huge lahars that traveled all the way to the Puget Sound, where cities like Tacoma and parts of Seattle are today. The scary part is that a lahar doesn't even need a full-blown eruption to happen. A landslide, a steam explosion, or even just hot rock near the surface could trigger one. This is why it is so critical for the communities in the shadow of Mount Rainier to be prepared. They have lahar warning systems, with sirens and designated evacuation routes. Schools in these areas even practice lahar drills, just like we practice fire drills. It's all about knowing what to do and where to go to get to higher ground quickly. So, let's talk about what makes these lahars so powerful. The sheer volume of water is one thing. All that glacial ice melting at once creates an enormous flood. But it's the mix of materials that makes it so destructive. The volcanic rock and ash on Mount Rainier are very loose and crumbly. When mixed with water, it creates a slurry that is much denser and heavier than plain water. Think about trying to walk through deep, thick mud versus walking through a puddle. The lahar has the power to bulldoze everything in its path. It can bury entire towns under dozens of feet of mud and debris. To understand the risk, geologists have created maps showing where lahars are most likely to flow. These maps are based on the shape of the land and evidence from past lahars. If you live in one of these valleys, you might see signs that say, Lahar Evacuation Route. These signs point the way to safety, to hills and high ground that a mudflow couldn't reach. The warning system is designed to give people as much time as possible. It uses special sensors on the mountain that can detect the ground-shaking vibrations of a lahar as it starts, automatically triggering sirens in the valleys below. This could give people anywhere from 40 minutes to a few hours to evacuate. Now, I know this all sounds a bit scary, but the key takeaway here is knowledge and preparation. Scientists are working around the clock to understand and monitor Mount Rainier. They are some of the best in the world, and their work helps keep people safe. By understanding the risks, communities can plan and prepare. It's not about living in fear, but about respecting the power of nature and being smart. Mount Rainier is a magnificent natural wonder that provides clean water, incredible recreation, and a stunning backdrop for millions of people. It's a vital part of the ecosystem. The goal isn't to make you afraid of mountains, but to help you appreciate the incredible forces that shape our planet. Volcanoes like Mount Rainier are a reminder that the Earth is a living, breathing thing. It's constantly changing, sometimes slowly, and sometimes very, very quickly. By studying these giants, we learn more about the history of our world and how to live safely alongside its most powerful features. The science behind volcano monitoring is amazing, using everything from GPS to measure ground movement to gas sniffers that analyze the air for volcanic chemicals. It's a real-life science detective story, so the next time you see a picture of beautiful Mount Rainier, you'll know the full story. You'll see not just a mountain, but a powerful volcano with a history and a future that we must respect. You'll understand the secret danger of lahars and why preparation is so important for the people who live in its valleys. It's a perfect example of how science helps us understand and prepare for the world around us, turning fear into knowledge and action. The story of Mount Rainier isn't just about danger, it's about resilience, science, and community. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the fascinating and powerful world of Mount Rainier. I hope you learned something new and interesting today. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more amazing facts about our planet, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.